Sham Sharadava Nalalida Loka Tranaya Karuna Gana Ganatam Sham Sharadava Nalalida Loka Tranaya Karuna Ganaganatam Praptasya Kalyana Gunanavasya Vande Gurashi Charanarvindam Praptasya Kalyana Gunanavasya Vande Gurashi Vande Gurashi Charanarvindam Vande Gurashi Charanarvindam Mahaprabhu ki Tana Nritya Gita Vaditra Madhyam Manasura Sena Mahaprabhu ki Gita Manasura Sena Romanchakam Pasru Taranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Shri Vigrahara Dhananitanana Shringara Tanama Dhiramarjanado Juktasya Bhaktamsya Niyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Chaturvidhashi Bhagavat Prasada Swatana Triptan Hari Bhakta Sangam Kritva Tripti Vajata Shadeva Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam Shradikama Davayara Para Madhurya Leela Gunarupanam Pratikshana Swa Dhanalalupasa Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Ne kunja yuno rati ke lisidhai jajali ver jukte apekshaniya ne kunja yuno tatrati daksha ativalavasya Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam Sakshadharitena Samasta Shastri Ruktastatava Vyataiva Sadave Kintu Pravarja Priya eva tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada Yasya Prasada Nagati Kutapi Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada Yasya Prasada Dhyayam Stuvam Tasa Yasa Trisandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namo Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatari Shatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Nama Krishna Jadavaye Nama, Hare Nama Jadavaye Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama. Gopal Govindaram Shimadusudam Giridhari Gopina Madana Mohan. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhattaraguna. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasaraguna. Shri Radha Nila Madhava Radhe Radhe. Jayo Radhe, Jayo Radhe, Jayo Radhe, Jayo Shri Radhe. Jaya Jagannath, Jayo Baladeva, Jayo Subhadrama, Jayo Sudarshan Chakra. Jayo Sitaram, Jayo Sitaram, Jayo Sitaram, Jayo Lakshmana Hanuman. Jayo Lakshmi Narasingha, Jayo Lakshmi Narasingha, Lakshmi Narasingha, Jayo Prahlad Maharaj. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur, Jai Mr. Paramahamsa Prabhajaka Sutta Sarji Shimar, His Divine Grace, Abhacharamina Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Pratishta Viviti Samstapa Kichar Vaishnav Siramani Patita Pavana Srila Prabhupada Ji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Gauriya Guru Varga Patita Udhara Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Guna Sat Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ji Ki Jai. Anantakuru Vaishnav Vrindi Ki Jai. Prem Shri Hosi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrindi Ki Jai. जय परम दयाल श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। जय प्रेमनाम संकीर्तने का जनक प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम श्री सच्चिदानंद श्रीमन गौरंग श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु गौर हरि महावृणावतार की जय। गोलोकेर प्रमधान हरिनाम संकीर्तन जग की जय। जुग धर्म हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। बृहदांग ट्रांसलेट बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सेवा की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीना राधा कुंज सम कुंज गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। Shri Shri Vrajapim Vrindavan Mathura Ki Jai. The Lordship Shri Shri Radha Nilamadava Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radhastami Maho Mahotsava Ki Jai. Vrishabhanu Nandini Shri Radhi Radharani Ki Jai. Ma Bhava Chintamani Swarupini Shri Shri Mati Radharani Ki Jai. Kanamana Mohini Shri Radhe Ki Jai. Shri Shri Mayapur Navadvipika Chakradham Ki Jai. Shri Param Karuna Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. Shri Shri Jagannath Swami Baladev Prabhu Smadhi Devi Sudarshan Chakravartin Ki Jai. Jaganga Mai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Vrindi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Mati Radharani Ki Jai. Shamaveta Bhakta Vrindi Ki Jai. Nitai Gauradi Pramanande. All glory to the Son of the Bodies. All glory to the Son of the Bodies. All glory to the Son of the Bodies. All glory to Shri Guru Shri Guru. Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Prahlada da da da. Hiranyakashipu Vaksha silatang kanakalaye. Ito lisengo parato lisengo, ito lisengo. Jato jato jamita to lisengo. Bahir lisengo, hridaya lisengo. Narasingha Madhi Sharanam Prabhave. Tava Kara Kamala Vare Naka Adabhuta Singha Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanavinga Kesavadruta Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Re Tava Parakamala Naka Adavata Shinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanavinga Kesavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Kesavadruta Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Re Kesavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Jaya Nishingade Jaya Nishingade Nishingade Jaya Nishingade Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari Narahari Jaya Narahari Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Deva. जय श्री श्री भक्ति पथ सर्वविघ्नाश न कनि सिंह रे भगवान की जय। भक्त श्रेष्ठ प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। निताय गौरारी प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। श्री वृंदाई तुलसी देवान प्रिय केशव सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्राणे देवी शतवत्ताय नमः। वृंदाई तुलसी देवाय प्रिय केशव सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्राणे देवी शतवत्ताय नमः। वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रिय केशव सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्राणे देवी शतवत्ताय नमः। श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की। तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो
नमः। तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो अभिलाषी।
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 जितो मारा शरण लो तारा पंचपूरण हो।
जितो मारा शरण लो तारा पंचपूरण।
कृपा कोरी कोरो तारे वृंदावन बासी।
तुम्हें कृपा करे करतारे वृंदावन वासी।
मुराए
Aminayane Nivasana Jagala Parasi
Nivedana dharo Sakiranu gata kuro
Nivedana Dhara Sakirayana Gatakara
Seva adhikara diye Koro nijadasi
Sevayadi Karadiye Karami Jadasi
Dina Krishna dase koe jina mora hoye
Krishna Das Kar Namara
Shri Radha Govinda preme sada jina bhasi
Shri Radha Govinda Prime Sada Yenavasi
Shri Radha Govinda preme sada jina bhasi
Shri Radha Govinda Prime Sada Yenavasi
Yani kani cha papani Brahma hatyadikani cha Tani tani pranashanti Pradakshina pade pade
Jani Kani Sapapani Brahma Hatyarikani Sa Tani Tani Pranasante Pradachita Pade Pade
Yani kani cha papani Brahma hatyadikani cha Tani tani pranashanti Pradakshina pade pade
Jani Kani Sapapani Brahma Hatyarikani Sa Tani Tani Pranasante Pradachita Pade Pade
Yani kani cha papani Brahma hatyadikani cha Tani tani pranashanti Pradakshina pade pade
Jani Kani Sapapani Brahma Hatyarikani Sa Tani Tani Pranasante Pradachita Pade Pade
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani.
Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani.
Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi.
Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi.
नित्याय गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, नित्याय गौरा हरि बोल, नित्याय गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल,
हरि बोल, नित्याय गौर हरि बोल।
श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी वृंदा देवी की जय।
जय श्री वृंदाई तुलसी बाई प्रिय केशव सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रहरी देवी शतवताय नमः। वृंदाई तुलसी बाई प्रिय केशव सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रहरी देवी शतवताय नमः। वृंदायै तुलसी देवाय प्रियायै केशव सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी शतवताय नमः। श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी वृंदा देवी की। O Tulsi, beloved Krishna, I bow before you again and again. My desire to obtain the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. I will take shelter of you as wishes fulfilled. Bestow mercy upon him, make him resident of Vrindavan. My desire also give me residence, pleasure groves of Shri Vrindavan. As within my vision, I will always behold the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower carry terms as a watch. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own servant. This very fallen and lowly servant Krishna praise. May I always sing in love with Shri Radha and Govind. Srimati Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Krishna ki jai. Chaito Rapanam Rajanam Bhavamadhivadninivapanam Shrayakari Chandrika Itaranam Vidyavadhujivanam Ananda Buddhivardhanam Buddhipadam Purnamritashradanam Sarvatmasnam Param Param Vijayati Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Nam Akari Vaudha Sarvashaktis Tathapitanyamita Shmaranena Kala Etadrishita Bhagava Bhavanamati Durgainam Shamyadin Tanurava Vinadapi Sunichaina Tarodapi Sahishnana Amanina Manadena Kirtaniyak Sarahari Nadhanam Najanam Nasandari Kavitam Vajagadish Kamaye Mama Janmane Janmanishwari Bhavata Bhakti Raitu Ki Kai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Anda Sameva Bhavamula Vipaya Bhavatam Jaduri Kasiri Samchintaya Nanam Galavashtu Arya Vadanam Kalkaladaya Kira Puratai Sam Purukta Kavanam Kaneha Visajati Jugaitam Nimishena Chakrusha Prasahitam Shunyahidam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Viratahena Me Asri Shava Padarata
for all benediction to the living beings. In virtue of hundreds and millions of names of Krishna and Govinda,
in these transcendental names, you have invested with your transcendental energies. There's not even hard and fast rule for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, idle kindness, we enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I'm so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. Once you chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, think oneself Lord in the strong street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige. One should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. Only when you cause the devotional service to birth or to birth. O Son of Marahashananda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yes, some or other, I'm following this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the items at your lotus feet. O my Lord, O will my eyes will be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name. O will my voice choke up. I will let the hairs of my body stand on end.
The recitation of your holy name.
O
Govinda,
filling your
separation.
I'm
I'm just in a moment to be like 12 years old. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling more vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord. He shall remain so even he handles the ruffle by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Sukhsastika. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutali Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamani. Namaste Saraswati Deve Guruvani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyabhadi Paskatya Istarni. Shrimad Bhagavatam Grantaraja Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Huh?
10 offenses.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, 10 offenses in the matter of chanting holy name of the Lord that should be avoided. They are as follows. 1.
To blaspheme the devotees who dedicate their lives to propagating the holy names of the Lord.
2.
Consider names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Rama, equal to independent of Lord Names.
3.
To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature pursuant to the Vedic version.
5.
To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna as imagination. To give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord.
7.
To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord.
8.
Consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities, which are offered in the Vedas as fruit of activities of karma kanda.
9.
To instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
10.
To not have a complete faith in any holy names, and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions in this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desired trees that can fulfill the desire of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. Vanchakalpatarabhischa, Kripasindhubhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah, Vaishnava Thakur Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Pute Shrimati Bhakti Swamita. Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Chanya Visesavaskajya. Shrimad Bhagavatam Grantaraj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadyasya Yato Nivayad Itaratascha Teso Vigyaswarat. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adhikavaye Muyanti Suraya. Tejovari Madam Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Misha. Damna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. O my Lord Shri Krishna, Son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes, of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations. And he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen on fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Dharma projita kaitravocha paramo nirmatsanam satam vedyam vastavam atravastu shivadam tapa trayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim va Purir Ishvaraha Sadyo Hridi Avarujyate Cha Kriti Behi Sususabhistakshanam. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam sukhamukad amrita dravya samyatam pibata bhagavatam rasam alayam muhur aho raska bhuvibhavakaha. O expert and thoughtful man, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire to Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of C. Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Shinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantak Stohi Bhadrani Vidu Noti Swahitsatam. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures, or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita, is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. Nasta presu bhadesu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utamasloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures, or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita. Let's see. In this way, one develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, as he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. Tadarajastamo bhava kamalobhadayaschaye chete taranavidam stitvam sattve prasidati. Yeah, by development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lust and avarice are diminished. Evam prasana manaso Bhagavat Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Vidyate Hirdaya Grantis, Chidyante Sarvasamsaya, Siyante Jasya Karmani, Justa Evat Manishware. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of a samsayam samagram, understanding of the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Shri Shri Guru Vastika prayers ki jai. The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy, just as the cloud pours water on the forest fire to extinguish it. So the spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master who is an ocean of auspicious qualities. Chanting the holy name, dancing in ecstasy, singing and playing musical instruments. The spiritual master is always gladdened by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he is relishing the mellows of pure devotion within his mind. Sometimes his hair stands on end. He feels quivering in his body, and tears flow from his eyes like waves. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is always engaged in the temple worship of Shri Radha and Krishna. He also engages his disciples in such worship. They dress the deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments, clean their temple, and perform other similar worship of the Lord. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is always offering Krishna 4 kinds of delicious food. Analyzes that which is licked, chewed, drunk, and sucked. When the spiritual master sees that the devotees are satisfied by eating Bhagavat Prasada, he is satisfied. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is always eager to hear and chant about the unlimited conjugal pastimes of Radhika and Madhava, and their qualities, names, and forms. The spiritual master aspires to relish these at every moment. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is very dear because he is expert at assisting the gopis who at different times make different tasteful arrangements for the perfection of Radha and Krishna's conjugal loving affairs within the groves of Vrindavana. I offer my most humble obeisance to the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he is the most confidential servitor of the Lord. This is acknowledged in all revealed scriptures and followed by all authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such a spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of Shri Hare Krishna. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Therefore, I should always remember and praise the spiritual master. At least 3 times a day, I should offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Shri Brahma Samhita ki jai, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha, Anadiradi Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam.
Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha, Anadiradi Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam.
Chintamani Prakara Satma Sukalpa Vriksha,
Chintamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha,
Laksha Vriteshu Surabhira Vipaliyantam,
Laksha Vitesu Suradhira Vipalayantam,
Lakshmi Sahasra Satasam Brahma Sevyamanam,
Lakshmi Sahasha Sata Sambrahma Sevyama,
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami,
Adi Purusham,
Venam Kvanantam Aravinda Dalayataksam,
Venu Panantam
Parhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam,
Arambata Samasitam Buddha Sundaranga,
Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Visesa Sobam,
Prakuti Kamaniya Vishesha,
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami, Alola Chandrakala Sadvanamalya Vamsi,
Alola Chandrakala Sadva Namadhivam,
Ratnam Gadam Pranayakili Kalavilasam,
Nangadam Pranayakiri Kalavilasam,
Shyamam Tribanga Lalitan Yata Prakasam,
Mangalalitam Yata Prakasam,
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami,
Govindam Adi Purusham,
Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Rittimanti,
Gani Yasa Sakalindriya Vrittimanti,
Pasyanti Panti Kalyanti Chiram Jaganti,
Pasyanti Panti Kalayanti Chirabjaganti,
Ananda Chinmaya Sadujvala Vigrahasya,
Ananda Chinmaya Sadujjala Vigraha,
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami,
Govindam Adi Purusham,
Advaitam Ajutam Anadim Ananta Rupam,
Advaitam Achyutam Anadimanam,
Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha,
Adyam Purana Purusham Navadurvam,
Vedesu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto,
Vedesu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma,
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami, Pantastu Koti Satavatsara Sampragamyo,
Antastu Koti Sadavatsara Sampradam,
Vayoratapi Manaso Munipungamanam,
Vayuratapi Manaso Munipungamanam,
Sopyastiyat Prapadasimya Vichintya Tattve,
Upyasya Padasim Chavchita,
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami,
Govindam Adi Purusham,
Eko Prasyo Rasayacham Jagadanda Kotim,
Eko Episod Chayachitum Jagadanda Koti,
Yat Chakti Rasti Jagadanda Chayayadanta,
Yashakti Rasta Chagadanta Chayajadanta,
Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam,
Adantarashta Paramanu Chayajadanta,
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami, Yat Bhava Bhavita Diyo Manajasta Taiva, Samprapya Rupa Mahima Sanayana Bhusaha, Suktal Yameva Nigama Pratitastuvanti, Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabhis, Tabir Ya Eva Nijarupa Taya Kalabi, Goloka Eva Nivasata Kilatma Bhuto, Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami, Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena, Santak Sadaiva Hridayesa Vilokayanti, Yam Shama Sundaram Achinta Gunaswarupam, Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami, Ramadi Murti Sukalani Amenatistan, Nana Avatara Makarod Bhuvanesu Kintu, Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramaha Pumamyo, Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami, Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagananda Koti, Koti Svasesu Vasudadi Vibhuti Bhinam, Tad Brahma Niskalamanantam Asesa Bhutam, Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami, Maya Hiyasya Jagadanda Satani Sute, Tad Traigunya Tad Vishaya Veda Vishaya Veda Vitayamana, Sattva Valambi Parasatvam Visuddha Sattvam, Govindamadi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. Ananda Chinmaya Rasat Mataya Manasu. Ya Praninam Pratifalam Smaratam Mupetya. Lilayatena Bhuvanani Jaya Yajasram Jaya. Govindamadi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. Jaya Yajasram. Golokanamni Nichatamni Tale Chatasya. Devi Mahesa Haritama Sute Sutesu. Te Te Prabhava Nijaya Vitascha Yena. Govindamadi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. Shististati Pralaya Sadhana Saktireka. Chaye Vayasya Bhuvanani Vivarti Durga. Ichjana Rupam Apiyasya Chichesta Tesa. Govindamadi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. Shriram Yata Dadi Vikara Vishesha Yoga. Sanjayate Nahitata Pritakasti Hetoho. Yasambhutam Apitata Samapaiti Karyat. Govindamadi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. Viparchadeva Hitasantaramabhyapetya. Dipayate Rivitahetu Samana Dharma. Yastadrigeva Hichavishnutaya Vibhati. Govindamadi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. Yakarna Narda Vajale Bhajati Sma Yoga. Nidram Ananta Jagananda Saroma Kopaha. Adhara Shaktim Avalambya Param Swamurtim. Govindamadi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. Yasyaika Nisvasitakala Matavalambya. Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagananda Nataha. Vishnu Mahan Sahi Yasya Kala Vishesho. Govindamadi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. Vasmanya Tasma Sakalesu Nijesu Teja. Sriyam Kiyat Prakatiyat Apitadvadatra. Brahmaya Esa Jagadanda Vidana Karta. Govindamadi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. Yat Pada Palava Yugam Vinidaya Kumbha. Dvandve Pranama Samaye Sukanadi Rajaha. Vignam Vihanta Malamasya Jagatrayasya. Govindamadi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. Agnir Mahika Ganamambu Marudisascha. Kalasta Tatma Manasitti Jagatrayani. Yasmad Bhavanti Vibhavanti Vishanti Yamcha. Govindamadi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. Yaschaksuresa Savita Sakalagrahanam. Raja Samasta Suramurti Rasesa Tejaha. Yasya Gaya Brahmati Sambrita Kala Chakro. Govindamadi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. Dharmo Tapapa Nichaya Srutayastapamsi. Brahma Dikita Patagava Dayasta Jivaha. Yadata Matra Vibhava Prakata Prabhava. Govindamadi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. Yasvindra Gopa Matavendra Mahoswa Karma. Bandhana Rupa Falabhajana Matanoti. Karmani Nirdahati Kintu Jabhakti Bhajam. Govindamadi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. Yam Krodha Kama Sahaja Pranayadi Biti. Vatsalya Moha Guru Gora Vasevya Bhavahai. Sanchityatasya sadrisim tanamahapurete. Govindam adipurisham tamaham bhajami. Shiyakanta kanta paramapurusha kalpataravo. Durmabhumischintamani ganamayi toyamamritam. Kataganyam ganam natyam gamanam apivamsi priyasaki. Chidanantam jyotiparam apitad asvadyam apicha. Sayatra shiradibihi shravati surabhibhyascha sumahan. Nime sardhakyuva vrajati nahiyatra pisamaya. Bhaje svita dvipam tamaham iha golakam itiyam. Vidantasta te santakshiti viralachara katipaye. Shish Upanishad ki jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Ishavaisham idam sarvam jatkinja jagatam jagat tenatak tena punjitaha magritaha krishasviddanam. Kurvan eva jivachek Kurvan eva karmani jivachek chatam samaha evam tvayi nanyatetusti na karma lipite nare. Kurvan eva karmani. Asurya namate loka andena tamasavritaha tamste pritya vigachanti yeke chatma hono janaha. Anicharikam manaso javyo nena devam apavam puvam rasata davato jnana teti testat tasmin apo matarvisva dadati. Tadejati tanejati tadure tadvantike tadantarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasya samayataha. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani evanupasyati sarvabhutesu chatmanam tatuna vichugupsate. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmeva bud vijanataha tatra kohom makasuka ekatvam anupasyataha. Sa prayagachukam avidam asnavidam sudam apapavidam kavir manisi paribu swayambu yatatat yatoratan vyadadat chasvatipyaha sabampyaha. Antam tamaha pravisanti ye vidyam upasate tato bhuyavate tamo yayu vidyayam rataha. Antam tamaha pravisanti ye vidyam upasate tato bhuyavate tamo yayu vidyayam rataha. Anyadevahur vidyaya anyadahura vidyaya iti susrumat dhiranam yenastad vichachakside. Vidyam cha yasyastad vedubhayam saha avidyayam iritum tirva vidyayam ritamasnute. Vidyam cha yasyastad vedubhayam saha avidyam amritum tirva vidyayam ritamasnute. Andam tamaha pravisanti ye vidyam ye sambhutim upasate tato bhuyavate tamo yayu sambhutam rataha. Sambutim cha vinasam cha yastad vedo bayam saha vinasena miritim tritva sambutam ritam asnute. Hiranmayana patrena satyasya pitam mukam tatvam pusama pavrinu satyadharmaya dristaye. Pusani kasya yamasuya prajapatya vyuharasmin samaha tejo yatte rupam kayanatamam tate pasyami yosavaso purushaha sohamasmi. Vayur anilam amritam asbas atayedam basmantam sariram om kratos smara kritam smara kratos smara kritam smara. Om Agnenaya Supataraya Swan Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidvan Yodajma Chuhurana Meno Puyistam Te Nama Utim Vinama Om Tat Sat. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7. We're going to do text number 13 again for the last time. Shirodadav Amaradanava Yutva Panam Yata Panam Unmatnatam Amritalabdaya Adi Deva Pristena Kachapa Vapur Vidadara Gotram Nidrakshanodri Parivartakasana Kanduhu. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The primeval Lord then assumed the tortoise incarnation in order to serve as a resting place or pivot for the Mandara mountain, which was acting as a churning rod. The demigods and demons were churning the ocean of milk with the Mandara mountain in order to extract nectar. The mountain moved back and forth, scratching the back of Lord Tortoise, who, while partially sleeping, was experiencing an itching sensation. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Although it is not our experience, there is a milk ocean within this universe. Even the modern scientist accepts that there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of planets hovering over our heads, and each of them has different kinds of climatic conditions. Srimad Bhagavatam gives much information which may not tally with our present experience. But as far as Indian sages are concerned, knowledge is received from the Vedic literatures, and the authorities accept without any hesitation that we should look through the pages of authentic books of knowledge, Shastra Chaksurvat. So we cannot deny the existence of the ocean of milk, as stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, unless and until we have experimentally seen all planets hovering in space. Since such an experiment is not possible, naturally, we have to accept the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam as it is, because it is so accepted by spiritual leaders like Sridhara Swami, Jiva Goswami, Vishwanatha Chakravarti, and others. The Vedic process is to follow in the footsteps of great authorities, and that is the only process for knowing that which is beyond our imagination. The primeval Lord, being all-powerful, can do whatever He likes, and therefore He is assuming the incarnation of a tortoise or a fish for serving a particular purpose is not at all astonishing. Therefore, we should not have any hesitation whatsoever in accepting the statements of the authentic scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam. The gigantic work of churning the milk ocean by the combined effort of the demigods and the demons required a gigantic resting ground or pivot for the gigantic Mandara hill, thus to help the attempt of the demigods, the primeval Lord assumed the incarnation of a gigantic tortoise swimming in the ocean of milk. At the same time, the mountain scratched his backbone as he was partially sleeping, and thus relieved his itching sensation. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The primeval Lord then assumed the tortoise incarnation in order to serve as a resting place or pivot for the Mandara mountain, which was acting as a churning rod. The demigods and demons were churning the ocean of milk with the Mandara mountain in order to extract nectar. The mountain moved back and forth, scratching the back of Lord Tortoise, who, while partially sleeping, was experiencing an itching sensation. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So this is an amazing pastime. And we also said that the tortoise incarnation was 800,000 miles long. So just imagine how big the ocean of milk is. So in Canto 8, Chapter 12, verse number 8, is a very interesting statement made that's pertinent to understanding this pastime. And that is, it says, "My dear Lord, your Lordship alone is the cause and the effect. Therefore, although you appear to be two, you are the absolute one, as there is no difference between the gold of a golden ornament and the gold in a mine. There is no difference between cause and effect. Both of them are the same. Only because of ignorance do people concoct differences and dualities. You are free from material contamination, and since the entire cosmos is caused by you and cannot exist without you, it is an effect of your transcendental qualities. Thus, the conception that Brahman is true and the world false cannot be maintained." So, this is a major difference between Mayavad philosophy and Krishna conscious philosophy. The Mayavadis say, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. The Brahman effulgence is real, and the Jagat, the whole material world, is false. Well, that is a false statement. Vaishnavas say the Brahman is real and understood in 3 steps: the Brahma Jyoti effulgence, the Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And then it says, even though the material world is sometimes manifest and sometimes manifest, it is still real because it emanates from the Lord. The Lord is real, and the material world is real. It has, even though it has a varying alternate, sometimes manifest, sometimes not manifest, but even in its unmanifest state is existing. So therefore, we cannot accept what the Mayavadis say, that the material world is an illusion, doesn't exist. Now, why? What is it that makes us understand that although the material world sometimes is manifest, sometimes is not manifest, it is still, and it is the effect of the Lord, but it is still non-different than the Lord? Well, it's because the material energy is also spiritual. It's coming from Krishna. Everything that comes from Krishna is spiritual. Therefore, Krishna is the cause and the effect, because it's the expansion of one of his energies, and he has multiple energies. So, in the purport to this verse 8:12:8, it says, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the living entities are representations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead's marginal potency, whereas the various bodies accepted by living entities are products of the material energy. Thus, the body is considered material, and the soul is considered spiritual. The origins of them both, however, is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the Lord explains in Bhagavad Gita 7.4 to 5. Bhumirapo nalo vayu kammanu buddhirevacha ahankara ityam me bina paktirastata apariyam itastvanyam pakriti vidime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayadam taryate jagat. It says, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, all together these 8 comprise my separated material energies. But besides this inferior nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is a superior energy of mind which consists of all living entities who are struggling with material nature and are sustaining the universe. So these 2 verses makes it clear that the material energy comes from Krishna and the jivas also come from Krishna. Everything comes from Krishna. So, therefore, Krishna is both the cause and the effect. And then it says, earth, water, fire, and so forth. Thus, both matter and the living entities are manifestations of energy of the Supreme Lord, since the energy and the energetic are not different, meaning the energy is everything that emanates from Krishna, and the energetic is Krishna himself. He's the source of the energy. Thus, the energy and the energetic are not different, and since the material and marginal energies are both energies of the Supreme Energetic, the Supreme Lord, ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead is everything. Well, that's a fact. Krishna is everything, but you cannot say that everything is Krishna. So someone would say, wait a minute, if Krishna is everything, then everything is Krishna. But no, because Krishna is a unique individual. The Mayavadis would say, well, yeah, you can say everything is Krishna because everything is Brahman. No. Krishna, but Brahman is one of the energies of the Lord, but he has a distinct body. So this is where everything gets confused, because the Mayavadis just scramble everything to try and make their philosophy. So, therefore it says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is everything. In this regard, the example may be given of gold that has not been molded and gold that has been molded into various ornaments. A gold earring and the gold in a mine are different only as cause and effect. Otherwise, they are the same. The Vedanta Sutra, that's a brilliant example. It says the gold in the gold mine and gold in the gold ring are one or the same. But quantitatively, there's a lot more gold in the gold mine and much less gold in the gold earring. So you can't say that they are one or equal. On another level, though, you can say they are made of the same substance. Okay. So, in this regard, qualitatively, we are one with Krishna. Quantitatively, we're different. In this regard, example, the Vedanta Sutra describes that Brahman is the cause of everything. Janmadasayata. Everything is born of the Supreme Brahman, from which everything emanates as different energies. None of these energies, therefore, should be considered false. The Mayavadi's differentiation between Brahman and Maya is only due to ignorance. Srimad Viraraghava Acharya, in his Bhagavata Chandrika, describes the Vaishnava philosophy as follows. The cosmic manifestation is described as Sat and Asat, as Chit and Achit. So Sat means eternal, Asat means temporary, and Chit means knowledge, and Achit means without knowledge. Matter is Achit, and the living force is Chit, but their origin is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in whom there is no difference between matter and spirit. According to this conception, the cosmic manifestation consisting of both matter and spirit is not different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Idam hi Vishwam Bhagavan Eveitaro. This cosmic manifestation is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although it appears different from Him. In Bhagavad Gita 9.4, the Lord says, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina matstani sarvabhutani na chaham tesu avistita. By me, in my unmanifest form, the entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Thus, although someone may say that the Supreme Person is different from the cosmic manifestation, actually he is not. The Lord says, Maya tatam idam sarvam. In my impersonal feature, I am spread throughout the world. Therefore, this world is not different from Krishna. The difference is a difference in names. For example, whether we speak of gold earrings, gold bangles, or gold necklaces, ultimately they are all the same. In a similar way, all the different manifestations of matter and spirit are ultimately one in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ekam evadvityam Brahma. This is the Vedic version in Chandogya Upanishad 2.2.1. There is oneness because everything emanates from the Supreme Brahman. The example already given is that there is no difference between a golden earring and a golden mine, as it is. The Vaisheshika philosophers, however, because of their Mayavad conception, create differences. They say Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. The Absolute Truth is real and the cosmic manifestation is false. But why should the Jagat be considered Mithya or false? The Jagat is an emanation from Brahman. Therefore, the Jagat is also true. Vaishnavas, therefore, do not consider the Jagat to be Mithya. Rather, they regard everything as reality in connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anashaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjitaha nirbandha krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam uchyate prapachikatayas budhya hari sambandhu vastanai mumukshubhihi pratityago vairagyam falgu katyate. Things should be accepted for the Lord's service and not for one's personal sense gratification. If one accepts something without attachment and accepts it because it is related to Krishna, one's renunciation is called yuktam vairagyam. Whatever is favorable for the rendering of service to the Lord should be accepted and should not be rejected as a material thing. Brahma Samhita, Brahma Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.255 and 256. The Jagat should not be rejected as mithya or false. It is truth. And the truth is realized when everything is engaged in the service of the Lord. So that's the main point. The truth is realized when everything is engaged in the service of the Lord. And when people don't use everything in the service of the Lord, then they see dualities. Then they see a lot of differences. And then they bifurcate. Their world is bifurcated. There's a spiritual world, maybe, and there's a material world. Some people are not even sure about both of those, whether they exist, or some people are sure that only one exists in the material world. Because if we don't use everything in the service of Krishna, then we'll see dualities. A flower accepted for one's sense gratification is material. But when the same flower is offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by a devotee, it is spiritual. Food taken and cooked for oneself is material, but food cooked for the Supreme Lord is spiritual prasada. This is a question of realization. Actually, everything is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore, everything is spiritual. But those who are not advanced in proper knowledge make distinguishes because of the interactions of the three modes of material nature. In this regard, Srila Jiva Goswami says that although the sun is the only light, the sunshine, which is in this regard, Jiva Goswami says that although the sun is the only light, the sunshine, which is exhibited in 7 colors, and darkness, which is the absence of sunshine, are not different from the sun, for without the existence of the sun, such differentiations cannot exist. There may be varied nomenclature because of different conditions, but they are all the sun. The Puranas therefore say, Ekadesa stitas yagyer, Jyotsna vistarini yata, parasya bhamana saktis tate dam akilam jagat. Just as the illumination of a fire, which is situated in one place, is spread all over, the energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parabrahman, are spread all over this universe. Vishnu Purana 1.22.53. Materially, we can directly perceive the sunshine spreading itself across Materially, we can directly perceive the sunshine spreading itself according to different names and activities. But ultimately, the sun is one. Similarly, Sarvam Klav Idam Brahma. Everything is an expansion of the Supreme Brahman. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is everything, and He is one without differentiation. There is no existence separate from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is a brilliant explanation of Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. And if we understand this, then nothing is foreign for us. You know, it's just like if you go to a foreign country, you think, oh, this is strange, this thing, that thing. They do it like this, they do it like that. But actually, if we see everything as the energy of Krishna that is expanded, then we understand that matter is also spiritual. That we understand. But there is a difference between matter and spirit in this sense, that matter is temporarily manifested and temporarily unmanifest, whereas spirit is always manifest. Therefore, devotees will use everything in the service of Krishna, then they see oneness, real oneness. Ekatvam anupasyataha. This is Ishopanishad. It says, Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmeva bud vijanataha tatra ko maha kahasoka ekatvam anupasyataha. What does it say? He who systematically sees everything in relation. One who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks, in quality one with the Lord, becomes a true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety for him? And then previously it says, Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani evanu pasyati sarvabhute suchatmanam tatona vichagupsate. He who systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, who sees all living entities as his parts and parcels, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being. So, there's so much hatred in this world today, right? But here's the solution to hatred. We have to learn these 2 verses from the Sri Upanishad and understand that everything in existence is, in one way or another, an expansion of Krishna's energies. He has infinite number of energies. So therefore, Krishna is everything. But you cannot say that everything is Krishna. You can't say the dog is Krishna, although the dog is made from Krishna's energy, earth, water, fire, air, ether, and the soul of the dog is also coming from Krishna. And the dog has a body, it's made with elements coming from Krishna. So we see there is oneness and difference always, everywhere in the universe. But the oneness reconciles all the differences. Okay, so this is also explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 17th verse. First canto, 17th chapter, 18th verse. And that says, O greatest among human beings, it is very difficult to ascertain the particular miscreant who has caused our sufferings, because we are bewildered by all the different opinions of theoretical philosophers. Okay. Now, in the purport, which is a brilliant purport, Prabhupada says, there are many theoretical philosophers in the world who put forward their own theories of cause and effect. Now, we just read in the previous verse in the Canto 8, Chapter 12, and verse number 8, where it says, "O my dear Lord, your Lordship alone is the cause and the effect." So now we're going to see these speculator, theoretical philosophers. So this verse says, O greatest among human beings, it is very difficult to ascertain the particular miscreant who has caused our sufferings, because we are bewildered by all the different opinions of theoretical philosophers. So Prabhupada says, there are many theoretical philosophers in the world who put forward their own theories of cause and effect, especially about the cause of suffering and its effect on different living beings. Generally, there are 6 great philosophers: Kanada, the author of Vaisheshika philosophy; Gautama, the author of logic; Patanjali, the author of mystic yoga; Kapila, the author of Sankhya philosophy; Jayamini, the author of Karma Mimamsa; and Vyasadeva, the author of Vedanta Darshana. Although the bull, or the personality of religion, and the cow, the personality of earth, knew perfectly well that the personality of Kali was the direct cause of their sufferings, still, as devotees of the Lord, they knew well also that without the sanction of the Lord, no one could inflict trouble upon them. According to the Padma Purana, our present trouble is due to the fructifying of seedling sins, but even those seedling sins also gradually fade away by execution of pure devotional service. Thus, even if the devotees see the mischief mongers, they do not accuse them for the sufferings inflicted. They take it for granted that the mischief monger is made to act by some indirect cause, and therefore they tolerate the sufferings, thinking them to be God-given in small doses, for otherwise the sufferings should have been greater. Okay, so this is a brilliant purport, because it shows how in this world people are confused because there are so many speculations, and because they don't have the absolute truth presented to them by sincere devotees, they become separated from Krishna. And therefore these false assumptions by different philosophers just takes them away from Krishna rather than brings them closer to Krishna. I mean, I remember in college, I was reading books of philosophy, and I couldn't understand what they were talking about. They were so complicated. They were using all this different language, and there were these different theories, and you read one book, and they would say one thing. You read another book, it would say something different than the previous book. And it was confusing. And then we had to read all these philosophers and then try and pass a test. And it was very difficult, because it didn't make sense to me. And now I understand why. Because they're all false theories. Most of it. It's all false. Therefore, unless we are educated by Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, we will fall into that trap of becoming confused. I remember reading books, and after just maybe one paragraph, one chapter, I would put it down. I said, I don't understand any of this stuff, And there were so many things they were saying. And the worst experience I had was when I went to the embassy, the Indian embassy in Paris, to look into their library. They had a free library. So I walked into the library one day of the Indian embassy, and they gave me permission. And there was a lot of books, and they were big books, big, thick books. And they had all these different names, like, Sankhya, and then Karma Mimamsa, and they had Nyaya, and then there was Vaiseshika and Vedanta, And I looked at them, I opened them up, looked at them, and I closed them, and I said, I'm never coming back here again. And I'm not interested in India at all because it's confusing, right? And that's a fact. The only time I began to get interested in India was when I was studying Bhagavad Gita with a devotee. And then almost everything he said or read from Bhagavad Gita and explained made sense to me. And I was thinking about that, how these other books, none of the books made sense to me, all those big books in the Indian library. And then when I'm hearing Bhagavad Gita from the devotee, it started to make sense. Now, one time, I tried to find out about Buddhism, so there was this one person I knew who wasn't a devotee, but he was something like an expert in Buddhism. And he explained to me, he said, well, life is like this. It's like a wave. Sometimes we're down here in the low point of the wave, and sometimes we're up here in the high point of the wave. And it just keeps going on like that eternally. And, I heard that, and I said, if that's what life is, I don't want any part of it. And, that was the Buddhist explanation, right? That and he told me there's no soul, there's just a mind. And then sometimes the mind is down here, and sometimes the mind is up there. So, this is the problem that kids are faced with today. They go to school and they learn all these opposing philosophies or differing philosophies, and they get bewildered by it. And they just see dualities. They don't see, just like, the whole idea, there's Democrat and Republican. And when you hear one talk, it's like, everything is okay. And you hear the other talk, you say, everything is bad, right? And then when let's say, the Republicans become elected and the Democrats are not elected, then the Democrat says everything is bad, and the Republican says everything is good. And then when the Republicans lose their election and the Democrats win, then Democrats say everything is good, and the Republicans say everything is bad. You say, same thing in India, with the Congress Party and the Modi's party, So this is confusing. Whereas Krishna says that, and Bhagavatam says that Krishna is the cause and the effect. Well, that would resolve all these problems. But no, everyone loves to argue. Even in ISKCON, you will see all these controversies are going on about women becoming gurus and this thing and that thing. Every year there's a new controversy, and they're going back and forth. And one said, this is bad, and the other one said, this is good. So it's very similar to that. Okay, so we'll stop right there and continue again. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Are there any questions? Yeah, so I didn't read verse number 9. Let me just read verse 9 because that connects it all. And this is a verse in the 8th canto, 12th chapter, verse number 9. Those who are known as impersonalist Vedantists regard you, meaning Krishna, as the impersonal Brahman. Others known as the Maimasaka philosophers regard you as religion. The Sankhya philosophers regard you as the transcendental person who is beyond Prakriti and Purusha, and who is the controller of even the demigods. The followers of the codes of devotional service, known as the Pancharatras, regard you as being endowed with 9 different potencies. And the Patanjali philosophers, the followers of Patanjali Muni, regard you as the supreme independent personality of Godhead who has no equal or superior. So those are different conceptions, right, of the same thing. So okay, so we'll discuss that a little bit more tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Oh, glory to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, yes, that's the whole point.
Does it mean
It means that Krishna is the cause and the effect. Well, that's the Mayavadis separate everything. They misinterpret. And people get confused.
if Jagat is not using Krishna service, then it's true, but for temporary. If it is for the sense gratification, then this Jagat is still true.
Well, see, the Mayavadis say, because this world is false, if you engage in sense gratification, it doesn't matter, because it's all false, you know. So it's in other words,
Well, but then they undergo severe pronounced austerity to control the senses. They don't really engage in gross sense gratification, do they?
They do. There are, like, for example, you have Ramakrishna. To show that he was transcendental, he purposely broke all the regulative principles. He would eat meat. He would do all kinds of crazy things, worship his wife's yoni, do all these crazy things, eat stool in the street, just to prove that he was transcendental. You see? Now, there are the Mayavadis who follow strictly all the rules and regulations also, right? But ultimately, they're saying that the world that we see is all false. So if you engage in sense gratification, it doesn't matter because it's false, it's not real. And the example is, one time I saw this person meditating, but they had a cigarette in their hand that was lit. But they were sitting like this, and the cigarette's in their hand. So I walked up to the guy and I said, why do you have a cigarette in your hand? And he didn't say anything. He had his eyes, you know, like they were closed or something. And I said it again 3 or 4 times, and then he opened his eyes. He said, "Get away." I said, "I just want to ask you to go away." I said, "I just want to ask you a question. Why do you have a cigarette?" "You are ignorant. You don't understand anything. Get away. You're a Krishna. You guys are always downers." I said, "Just explain why you have a cigarette in your hand." He said that you don't understand philosophy. I am not this body, so it's not me that's holding the cigarette. You see how crazy they become? You know, so he can hold the cigarette, he can smoke it also. It doesn't matter because it's not him. I am not this body.
And then the next question, if they say everything is Maya, why are they using it?
That's right. That's right.
You see, they can't win.
Well, they're not supposed to. They're supposed to just meditate, and away from everything.
Whatever you tell them, meditation is Maya.
That's why they come to the conclusion that if it's all Maya, then it doesn't matter if I break the rules and regulations. Because it's an illusion, it's not real. Only Brahman is real.
But then the next question is, why are you and getting involved in illusion.
Well, no, you have to understand, Mayavad means they're worshipping something that's an illusion. Their philosophy, see, if they say everything is false in the material world, then their philosophy has to be false also, because it's part of the material world. It's developed by their mind and the brain, which is a material thing. That's why they're called Mayavadis. They worship something that's not real.
So in other words, themselves, they are Maya also, the illusion, the existence, the illusion. So it doesn't make really, when you think deeply, they just wrong. So they can't really win at the end, because they can't explain it.
Well, see, they simplify everything by rejecting everything. They reject Krishna, they reject the spiritual world, they reject devotional service, they reject everything. Deity worship, everything we do, they reject.
And they should reject themselves.
Well, they do. They try and give up their individuality and merge into nothingness or into oneness.
Then they can't win. That one is also illusion.
That's why they're called Mayavadis. They're worshipping something that's an illusion. It's not real. The material world is real. The Mayavad philosophy is not real. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma. Mando Muri Savadana Mate Mando Muri Savadana Mate Janara Prasade Bhai He Bhavatori Ajaye Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Guru Mukha Padma Bhakya Chitete Koriya Arana Koriya Mane Asa Arana Koriya Mane Asa Shri Guru Charane Rati Ese utamagati. Ye pasa de pure salvasa. Ye pasa de pure salvasa. Chakshudana dilaje janme janme Prabhu se. Chakshudana dilaje janme janme Prabhu se. Divya gyani de prokashito. Divya gyani de prokashito. Prema bhakti jaha hote avidya vinasajate. Prema bhakti jaha hote avidya vinasajate. Vedika janara charito. Vedika janara charito. Shiguru karna sindhu adana janara bandhu. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adana Janala Bandhu. Lokanath Lokera Jivana. Lokanath Lokera Jivana. Ah Prabhu Koro Doya Deya Mori Pada Jaya. Ah Prabhu Koro Doya Deya Mori Pada Jaya. Ah Prabhu Koro Doya Deya Mori Pada Jaya. Ebeas Gusukti Bhuvana. Ebeas Gusukti Bhuvana. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine nirvisesa sunyavadi vaskatyade satarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. Jayo Mishnapad Paramhansa Pararajikachar Statara Satara Shishi Shimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Pali Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gogopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapura Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Ganga Maya Jamuna Maya Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai, Itai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shikuru and Shikurang, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Patita Pavana Ki Jai, Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhuti Vismata Bhaktivinoda Swamita. Namaste Saraswati Devi Guru Varani Vichari Nirvisesa Sanyavadi Paskatya Desataram Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain the pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. I only wish to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all his desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth and birth. By him, ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread throughout all the three worlds. We take shelter of your lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaura Premanandi Hari Bol.
If I was in some position, just mind that it's beaten, right? They have beat you to death because the illusion.
It's all an illusion. It doesn't matter.
I'll beat you and then kill you. No?
Yeah.
And why you trying to survive?
Yeah, don't be attached to the body. You're not this body.
They should stop. They should stop eating, doing anything.
That's right.
And see how long they're gonna survive. Is it like this nonsense? I mean, they're just like kids. I mean, lower than kids.
Well, they're big kids.
Can't take them risk.